Hey, it's Janae Ashley, and welcome to my channel. There's a few things that you should know about me. I love to talk, I love to connect with people, and I definitely love to share my perspective. So welcome to Janae's take on the random and unexpected, where we explore all things captivating, insightful, and even a little silly. I'm here to take you on a journey through different topics and examine them from a unique perspective, aka my perspective, with a touch of humor and a healthy dose of curiosity. I'm always talking about the most random and unexpected things, so why not talk about it with you guys? And don't worry, this is not going to be a snooze fest. I like to keep things fresh, fun, and spontaneous, of course, just like me. So sit back and relax and get ready to be entertained and informed. And make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe and share, because obviously we want our community to grow larger and larger than life like me. I feel like the non-typical questions, you can get more out of a person. It's a great way to get to know someone and their thought process and where they were when they were younger. How did you play house when you were younger is a question that I typically just ask females. Typically you would hear little girls, they would play, even playing Barbie and stuff like that. You had your Ken doll and you had Barbie or whatever, or Chrissy actually, not Barbie, because I didn't have a white Barbie. I'm black, so it's definitely a trust the process moment for me right now. But anywho, so for me, I would say I was not the girl that would play house and having a husband or anything like that. I wasn't that girl. As a single woman with a daughter, I don't really even know what or why that was the case. I was a go-getter. I was a businesswoman. I don't know exactly what it was that I was doing specifically in terms of what was my job because that was also another thing too. I never had a profession that I wanted to actually be. I wasn't the kid that was oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut. I was never like that. I don't know why. I just knew that I wanted to be successful in some kind of business, or profession, but I never had a specific profession that I actually wanted to be in. So hey, that's probably why, because I didn't know what content creation was. I didn't know what podcasting was at that time. So I was probably just working along what I'm meant to do, honestly. But I think it's interesting because when I tell people oh yeah, well, mainly women, because I feel I have this, again, I only have this type of conversation with women. But when I say yeah, I didn't play house me married to someone. I also wasn't the type of little girl that was into Disney princesses. That wasn't my thing either. I think the only actual Disney princesses that I could say I've seen in full would be Cinderella, and the other one, which I don't typically would consider a Disney princess, but I think she obviously falls into the category. It would be Mulan, and I actually seen Mulan in the movie theater, and I remember that I was actually very intrigued by the storyline and stuff like that. And I guess also Pocahontas, because I guess that she was a Disney princess too. But specifically Cinderella and Mulan were the only two that I actually watched and enjoyed. Because I used to play a single woman by myself with my daughter, just a businesswoman, I feel that's very telling, because I'm very independent as a person. I never envisioned getting married. It's not I didn't want to, because I grew up in a household with both my parents. Both my parents are present in my life all the way through. I'm a daddy's girl. But I was really never into Disney princesses. I wasn't even really into cartoons like that either. I really enjoyed watching Nick at Night more than I did watching cartoons half the time. I really loved I love Lucy, literally love her. That's literally one of my favorites. And so I feel because of that, maybe it has something to do with what I used to enjoy watching, but I really did find that I wasn't the girl that was into you know, having a husband. I just think that also for my age at the time when I would like, you know, because I was a single, I was an only child for like a while. I feel like that plays a part when you're playing and how you play, because I obviously had to play by myself for a long time. And I think because me being mature at a young age, it made me look at like playing house like, well, I'm by myself. What?
What are you talking to?
I'm talking to my peeps. Like, I'm doing a get ready with me, so I'm kind of doing like a Q&A, essentially.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. So,
See my chef's hat?
But you're not a chef, though.
I'll be cooking you.
Whoa. Oh my gosh, he really wants to say that so bad. Like, this guy. Oh, snap. Oh, what time are we supposed to be ready? Because I don't know.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
It's 6:52, right?
53.
Even worse.
But I'm like basically like almost done. I guess I just won't do my clip-ins today. For me, I think at that young age, I just kind of didn't know. Like, yeah, you go to school with boys, but like I'm not a boy, so I wouldn't really know like what they're doing. And on top of that, like, I'm an independent woman. Like, I don't really need a man right now. So it's funny because I'm 31 and me and Dustin, we've been together for a very long time, literally a decade plus a year. And sometimes people ask like, oh, like, when do you guys plan on getting married and things like that? And for me, because one, I wanted to make sure that I finished getting my bachelor's first, because I'm all about breaking generational curses. And that means doing things that are also opposite of like what your parents were doing when you came about. So, you know, for the both of us, like both of our parents, like they, you know, they got married and had kids and started a family, but like didn't have their education. And for me, that was always something I wanted for my future children, regardless of who I was gonna be with. And if that was something that was gonna happen for me, that I wanted to make sure that both me and their father would be or have a degree, at least one. So I have my associates and I have my bachelor's. That was one thing I said, like, I just want to make sure that I finish before we move forward. Now, for me, I was battling depression when I was graduating high school. So that played a lot into like why it kind of took me long to get my bachelor's, but everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't change things regardless. Like, even though like I dealt with depression, it honestly, like, dealing with that, I want to say it helped me learn some things, and it helped me create things as well, like the glow mode. And I'll go into more detail about that as time goes on, because that is definitely a way that that's a mindset that I created, and I definitely want more people to know about it and utilize that as well as a way to just elevate yourself and do things that you never or didn't expect to do, or whatever the case may be. So when people ask me, like, you guys gonna get married and start a family? And it's just like, you know, I feel like that question is so annoying, but I don't get offended because people just don't know me. So in terms of like Disney princesses, and the reason why I brought that up is because for Cinderella, the reason why I like that was because I always said, if in fact like I was gonna find someone, I would want that someone to give me that feeling that I feel like I'm swept off of my feet. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm just like settling for like this person that I'm gonna be with. I really want us to have like that genuine connection where we're friends, where we love each other, where we can support each other. We may not like always understand like what it is that the other person wants to do, but just being willing to learn whatever it is that that person wants to do. Because I just always knew that like if I was gonna be with someone, like they were gonna be like my dad. And you know, Dustin, he cares for me and like protects me like my dad, like how my dad would. So for me, I was like, okay, great, like that's the most important thing, and that's what I wanted. If that was gonna be in my deck of cards in terms of a relationship. And that's something I also did not settle for either, because you definitely have to make me feel like I am secure and safe and things like that. And like, you know, you have me in your best interest when you make certain decisions, because if not, then it's just not gonna work. For Dustin, that's what he has done for me. And so like when he came into the picture, marriage and family and all those great things definitely became more prevalent for me. So I just mentioned some of my must-haves in a relationship, and there are some others like communication, respect, etc. So let me know down in the comments below if you want me to discuss this further in a separate video. Now let's continue. You putting yourself first is so important in any relationship, because if you don't put yourself first, you're not going to get the full, you're not going to get like the full love or like the appreciation for your relationship if you're constantly worrying about the other person, like, and you're not thinking about yourself. I feel like it's important that you think about yourself when you're in a relationship. And so like, you know, when you don't accomplish certain goals, I think like you may just like end up resenting that person. And for me, I never want to be like that person that's like, oh, I regret not finishing this or doing this, because, you know, a relationship like where, you know, that relationship still could be existing, but let me work on finishing certain things first. Because when you learn more about yourself in that self-discovery process, you'll learn what distracts you and what doesn't. And not to say that like a really good relationship is distracting and can be like, you know, like, oh my gosh, like you can only do things if you can only be in a relationship if you like accomplish your goals first. No, because you're obviously going to be accomplishing different types of goals when you're in that relationship. But like certain goals that you want to accomplish, especially if you're trying to break generational curses and just live life a little differently than your parents, you have to be mindful of that and like knowing what can break that concentration. And I think for me at the time of us going through our relationship and in our journey, I just knew at that time that I wasn't strong enough to say like, okay, yes, we can move forward with our relationship and I can also go to school. I was not that disciplined yet to do that. And so that played a part in like me not wanting to move like to the next phase of our relationship, because I want to make sure that when I got this ring on my finger, I want to be fully immersed and present in that experience and that moment. Everyone is different, but for me, I knew that once we made it to like that next stage in our relationship, like it was going to be amazing. And let me know down below some random and unexpected topics that you want to get my perspective on. I hope you enjoyed today's video and definitely stick around for more. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.